end of this term to actually give an in-person speech. So it's been really inspiring today to see the campaign teams laying the groundwork to elect Green councillors next May. And it's not a moment too soon. This is a critical time for our planet. Climate change is here. Wildfires, drought, communities at risk from rising tides or flooding from ever more extreme weather. Climate change is at the forefront of people's minds, and COP26 brought many promises from governments all over the world. But we don't have time for promises that don't go far enough, even if they're kept. We don't have time for action that doesn't come fast enough. We don't have time for greenwash or self-congratulation, because warm words don't cool the planet, and it's time to ramp up the pressure, because every time governments kick the can down the road, the challenge gets that little bit harder. We're sick and tired of warm words and empty promises, and we are crying out for change. Not just for the planet, but for people too. Because we can't have climate justice without social justice and racial justice. Because that leaves the disadvantaged behind, and sometimes it can make things worse for people who are already struggling. Welsh communities can be saved from rising tides, but some of them are still the poorest communities in Europe. More than 20% of people in Wales have a disability or long-term health condition, and yet even now, social care is underfunded, undervalued and overlooked. Homelessness, including the hidden homeless, those on sofas or in temporary accommodation, hasn't gone away. Trans people are still being killed for who they are. And in England and Wales alone, 2 women are still being murdered by current or former partners every single week. And in fact, over the pandemic, that number has been even higher. Almost 1 in 3 women will experience domestic violence, and yet domestic violence services in Wales are at breaking point. Last year, almost 700 survivors in Wales were unable to be supported in refuge when they needed it. And what happens to those women then? Is this the Wales we want? Is this who we are? Of course it isn't. Because we are compassionate, we are bold, we care, and we know that life can be better for all of us than this. And our vision for a green future where everyone can thrive truly inspires me. But what does a green future for Wales actually look like? It means retrofitting homes to lift people out of fuel poverty and bringing empty homes back into use. It means social care for everyone who needs it. It means accessible, affordable and connected public transport over a focus on electric cars. It means sustainable and consistent funding for domestic violence and homelessness services, a strong stance against discrimination in all forms. It's anti-racist and it's intersectional. Democracy feels like it means something because every vote matters. And of course we can't forget a universal basic income, giving everyone a financial safety net, handing power back to workers and back to women. Because a green future means no one is left behind. And friends, there is hope. I take hope from the thousands of activists marching for our planet. Young people, Indigenous people, all over the world standing against government and corporate inaction that is threatening their future and our future. I take hope from conversations on the doorstep with people who are considering voting Green for the very first time. These are people who are leaving two-party politics behind and voting for what they believe in. And I take hope from the campaign teams right here in Wales Green Party who gave us our best ever Senedd election results this year. The local elections are just a few months away and we stand ready to make a breakthrough onto councils all over Wales. And when we do, we'll be building that green future at a grassroots level, creating safe communities that care for everyone. But it is more than that, because getting Greens on councils is the catalyst for change. It is our turning point. Caroline Lucas was a councillor first. Sian Berry, Jonathan Bartley, they are councillors now. Adrian Ramsey was a councillor, and our next Green MP, Carla Denyer, is a councillor in Bristol now. So know that with every door you knock and every leaflet you deliver, you are helping to build our green future. And on that note, let's go home, watch the rugby, and then get out on the doorsteps and win.